Hello and welcome to this lecture. So in this journey of remaining the anonymous in the network, we'll start off just changing the MAC addresses of our machine. So first of all, we'll see what is this IP addresses and MAC addresses and what are the components of the network first. So let me open this picture here real quick, and you will see that these pictures have these IP addresses and MAC addresses over here. So these MAC addresses are the components of a hardware. Basically, it will identify each of these hardware uniquely. That means if you have any computer on the network, each of these devices will have different MAC address and different IP address. So if you want to send packets, basically the information packet is the collection or basically a part of the information, and if you want to send the packet from one PC to another PC, in this case it can be from source PC to the destination PC, it should be first based on this MAC address. So this packet will have the header and that will contain the source MAC address and destination MAC address. So this MAC address is very important because this is the way in which the network will be sure that the packet will reach to the destination. So it is very important MAC address. And the next one is IP address, and we all know about the IP address. It is the way to remain connected in the network, and IP address within the network continuously changes, but the MAC address remain unique because it comes with the hardware manufacturer. So each of these hardware manufacturer will give different IP addresses, or basically the MAC addresses, not the different IP address. It will be different MAC addresses will be assigned to each of these components, or basically to the PC, so that they will be identified uniquely. So you can say each of these components, maybe the router or the PC, you can also connect the mobile devices. Each of these will have different MAC address or unique MAC address so as to identify them in the network. So that is very important. Now you can see that this MAC address will just track you back because this will be unique, and that means it can track you back if you do any illegal activities through that machine. So let's see how to change this MAC addresses temporarily, or basically if you want to get into the system that has block listed, or basically that has just filters which will just filter all of the unnecessary devices from that system. That means you can change to this new MAC addresses so as to get into that system and just pen test that system. So there is very much advantage of just using this MAC changer. So first of all, we'll see the services that is provided by the Kali Linux, which is a MAC changer application, and in the next upcoming lecture we'll make our new MAC changer, which is our own application with the help of Python. So first of all, let me just go over here, and now let me just show you by opening the terminal. So I'll just create a new window, and this window will be the new terminal over here. So what I want to do is first of all, let me just zoom in over here, and now we have to make use of this ifconfig. So it is ifconfig. So if I just hit enter, you will see these network interfaces over here. So what this network interface represents is your network card. So if you see here, you will have ETO0 and yellow and WLAN 0. So this WLAN 0 is a wireless USB adapter which I have connected externally. You can also connect it externally, and you will also see this WLAN 0 will have these IP addresses and these MAC addresses. So let me just clear this out first, and you can see it has ETO0. So this is your virtual interface that comes with this virtual box. So you can just have this internet connection through this connected wire. So if you see here, it has a wired connector. So this interface represents that wired connection, and this WLAN 0 is for the wireless connection, and this is not the case that is given by the virtual box. It should be just connected from the external USB adapter, and basically this is wireless connection. You can see I have both of these wired and wireless. So you can see this is wireless over here, so that I have this WLAN 0 over here. So let's see how we can just change this MAC address of WLAN 0, which is our external USB adapter, to new one. So let's see how we can do that. So first of all, if you want to do that, we have to first of all make this interface go down. That means we have to just terminate this action of this WLAN 0, or basically we have to stop this network interface for now. So in order to do that, we have this command over here, that is ifconfig WLAN 0, which is your interface, and down is the method in order to stop this interface. So when I just hit enter, it will just do its work, and now our interface is down. So after you make your interface down, you have to use this max changer method. And if I say help here as an attribute, or if I just give the argument as a help to this max changer, it will just give us some of the options that is available with the max changer. So you can see the help option, obviously we get this help and the version, and the next one is the show method is going to print us the MAC address. And if you just see here, it has the ending, it has another, and the main important part over here is this random one and list one and the MAC. So you can also assign your own MAC addresses by using this MAC changer. You can also get the random MAC addresses by this R argument. You can also make this permanent MAC addresses, that is reset to original permanent hardware MAC. So let's make use of this one of these options that is available over here using the MAC changer. So just remember, if you want to use this MAC changer, you have to first stop your interface. So let's see how we can do that. So first of all, let me just clear this one, and we'll just now make use of random method, which will just generate the random MAC changer. And now I'll just say that after using this MAC changer, I'll just say R argument, which will just assign the random MAC to our machine, and after that I have to give the interface, which is WLAN 0. So if I hit enter, now you can see the current MAC address was this, and the permanent was obviously the current one, but the new MAC was assigned over here. Now after you change that MAC address, you have to roll back your that interface up. That means you have to just start your interface again. So in order to do that, you have to pass that ipconfig or ifconfig. ipconfig is for the Windows and ifconfig is for this Kali, and after that I have to just say WLAN 0 and up. So if you say down, it is going to just stop that. If we just type up, now our interface is up and running. So now if I say ifconfig again, then you will see the new change in the Ethernet over here, which is our MAC address. So this was assigned, which is the new MAC address here. You can clearly see in this WLAN 0, the new MAC address was assigned. So this is randomly assigned. You can also make use of that set method in order to set your own MAC addresses to this interface. So now we'll make our Python code in order to perform this. So we'll just see how we can just change or basically make this MAC changer application with our own code. So before doing that, we have to have some logic. So we'll say that instead of this MAC changer, so MAC changer is basically the application or the package that comes pre-installed with the Kali Linux, and this is bunch of our Python code that we don't want to have clone on our application. So we'll just make a logic now, our own logic, in order to just perform this MAC changer. So if you see here, first of all, in order to just change the MAC of any machine, we have to first of all down that interface. That means again we'll just say down. And after that, the new method that I'm going to call, let me just clear first. The new method I'm going to call is ifconfig. Okay, ifconfig, and now I have to say again the interface, which is WLAN 0 and hardware interface, that is for SW and ether. So ether was the argument that was associated with our interface MAC addresses. So after you just assign that ether, now it's time to assign our new MAC addresses. So in this case, I'll just say 00112233, okay, 3344 and 55. So these will be our MAC addresses. Now if I just hit enter, and if I again roll back our WLAN 0 to the up and running position, and if I just enter okay over here, if I say again if config, then you will see we have now again changed this ether, which is obviously the MAC address of this interface, again to this value. So we are not going to use the idea of the MAC changer, but we'll just make use of this idea in our Python code to change the MAC addresses from the original one to this one, or basically that is entered by the user. So let's see how we can just implement it, and we'll do that in the next lecture. See you in the next one.